Yeah, going back, Travion and Miyan, I think, played in 3 Big Ten games together.
That's
And
crazy.
and then, of course, the game against Georgia, Miyan Williams played but wasn't healthy. I think he played 5 snaps in that one. Travion Henderson didn't play at all. You talk about the offensive line. I always liked what Jim Tressel would do, and he would put the second team offensive line in the game, like randomly, like early in the season. Remember in 2006, he did it against Texas, and the second team offensive line took them down the field for a touchdown. Like you just put him out there, and because you're going to need him later on during the season, so get it out there early on. I'm not saying you should do it in the first quarter or second quarter against Texas in a big game that you need to win, but that's what he did, and it worked. And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe you start seeing more of that. But I also think that's one of the reasons why they're trying to reduce the number of the number of snaps in a game with some of these clock rules that they're talking about, because they're going to be asking players to play more games. So that if they can eliminate 5, 7, 8, 9 snaps a game, you're talking about over the course of the season, maybe eliminating an entire game's worth of snaps with some subtle changes. So I think they're trying to just alleviate some of those concerns about the number of snaps that players are going to play, because, man, the injuries for Ohio State last year, I don't know if we'll see that again, but the more games you play, the more likely you are to see something like that again.
Yeah, it seemed like to me that they tried to make Tuesdays and Wednesdays more physical during the course of the season, and it seemed to me like guys were getting banged up in practice and not even in games and missing games because of it. And it's a fine line. Obviously, as we know, you've got to play physical. The year before, you could say Ohio State's defense was nowhere near physical enough, so they needed to ramp that up a little bit, but that comes at a price. You're going to injure some people doing that. So I don't know. I don't know what the exact answer is to it, but they've got to come up with a balance on that in that aspect alone, physicality and how much they do in practice, because you don't want your best players to get injured in practice and miss critical time. So. Yeah, I'm of a mind that I don't know. This sport is going in a new direction and hurtling at the speed of light into uncharted territory, and we'll see how the spaceship holds up, because I don't know. There's a lot of things coming to pass here in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, so if we're going to potentially ask some players to play 17 games, and on a fairly regular basis, 6 or 8 teams in the country to play 15 or 16 games, then we've all heard the recommendation to cut back the regular season, but then you are damaging the pocketbooks of 95% of the teams out there, about 115 teams in the nation plus. So this seems to be, to me, guys, the rule changes that Tony brought up, an approach to limit the length of the games, number one. Number two, to approach the issue of player safety and eliminating plays during the game, therefore the season.
Yeah, and they're never going to eliminate games. There's too much money in terms of the home gate or whichever gate, and of course the TV revenue.